Hi all, we're back again. The end of another week. It's amazing how they blend together. And it is still sunny here, my goodness, yeah, fantastic weather. And Alfie's loving it. He's not wearing so many clothes, which is great. And it's quite a contrast on these mornings. I was doing potty practice this morning about half an hour ago, having some fun with that, and Paw Patrol. And now here I am. So, what have we got to talk about today? Well, we're going to have another longer look at the losing trick count. A few more tactics, hand evaluation. And of course my father, this could be hopefully the last mention really, because he's well. He's out of hospital and well. So thank you for everything. And that's brilliant news. And let's go quickly on that note to what you've raised for the charity, which this is not even up to date. We've got over 8,000. So thank you very much for that. It's been brilliant. My father's over the moon with that. And as I say, thank you for the contributions. We're going to keep obviously the page open. Hopefully we'll be able to get to 10,000 and double what I'd aimed for. So that's brilliant. And then we're talking about the losing trick count. We've got the quizzes as usual, and we're also going to mention the teams match, which we're going to do today. I do have to mention that because we're going to do that live again. It'll be I'm going to play with Pete again, and Will and Sylvia are going to play. I've got Mick and Sheena to come in on one team. I do need another pair. So that's generally I'm talking from the helpers, the team of helpers, if that's okay, the Mr. Bridge helpers. But if you can send in to my email. Most of you know that, bernardmcgeebridge@gmail.com, okay, and we'll get that set up, and I will talk about that again later on and how you can join us, and I'll be hopefully chatting about all the terrible things I'll be doing at the table, including probably having a sip of wine. One last mention for the week's offer. What we were talking about was the DVDs, the 6 DVDs that we've got on offer. They have been posted, those of you who have ordered already, and just the office wanted me to warn you that the post does take a little longer at the moment. I know some of you will receive them already, but some of you might get them either today or the beginning of next week. So bear that in mind. That's all the office wanted me to know, but do look at that. That's the 6 DVDs for £59. And it's set 6. Yeah, we've done 8 sets if you're asking. 48 different DVDs we've got, and a nice variety of subjects there. So that's our setup for the day. Let's look at that first quiz. Again, I'm going to repeat the quiz we had on Wednesday, but I won't give you the answer until halfway. Okay, so I won't give you the answer till halfway. Your left hand or opponent opened 1 diamond on this hand, 1 heart by your partner, 3 diamonds. And it's your bid. Notice the vulnerability here. Your opponents are vulnerable and you are not. Your opponents are vulnerable and you are not. Okay, and we'll come back to the answer to that later on. It's a tricky one. It'll be interesting to see how many right answers I see appear on my screen. Okay, let's go over to the PowerPoint then. Okay, so we're losing trick count I wanted to talk about today to carry on, and we're going to take it just a little bit further. Now I'm going to do a summary of what I call hand evaluation next to the losing trick count, because we've talked about what I would call the basic losing trick count. Rather like the point count system, both of them are very good, but they do require hand evaluation too, and that's what we're talking about today. What I'm hoping to do on Monday is to collect together the many questions I've had, and I want you to send more questions that you have about losing trick count, whether it's hands or just individual questions, and then I'm hoping to chat about some of those on Monday. I just got sent a lovely one by Reg actually 5 minutes before air. So that will be one of the questions, but please do send me in some questions on the losing trick count, and we'll be able to sort of summarize what we've talked about over the 3 days this week. So here is the first hand, then let's have a look. Okay, oh, I need to click on it. Oh, that would help. Okay, here we go. So, 1 heart from west, 1 spade from east, 2 clubs from west. Okay. Now, what's interesting here is until west bids 2 clubs, essentially nobody needed to count their losers because there was no fit. Okay, 1 heart, 1 spade, 2 clubs, no fit. But now, when west rebids 2 clubs, we know that he has 5 hearts. Okay, there was a mention of 4-4-4-1 hands on a previous hand that we did, but here it can't be 4-4-4-1. Really, if your partner had a singleton spade, he should have opened 1 diamond. So I think East knows he has a heart fit here, and that is crucial because now he can use the losing trick count. And let's do what we did last time. So we cover the other hand up. Okay, so let's count the losers. If everybody's happy with that, 2 in spades, 3 in hearts, 1 in diamonds, and 2 in clubs. That's 8 losers. So let's do what we do. And remember, I'm using the comparison method. So my minimum number of losers as a responder is 9, with which I would have just simply bid 2 hearts. I'm 1 better than that, so I bid 3 hearts. Okay, and that's crucial because there's a huge difference between 2 hearts and 3 hearts. It's not just the losing tricks that you've got, it's that 3 hearts shows real support, whereas 2 hearts can often be begrudging support, i.e. old partner, well, I've got to bid something, I'll bid 2 hearts. Okay, and then if we switch over to the other side, you can see that there are 6 losers. Okay, so let's just do that. 1 in spades, 1 in hearts, all 3 diamonds, and 1 in clubs. Okay, and of course 7 would be your minimum, with which you'd pass 3 hearts. You're 1 better, so you bid 4 hearts. So here we've seen it on a 5-3 fit. Okay, where it works better on 4-4s and 5-3s. If you go to 6-2 or 7-1, it's not going to work because, of course, the losing trick count will be expecting roughing. Here, though, it's not unreasonable. What the losing trick count is hoping for you to be able to do, for example, is you could rough a diamond. You may not need to on this hand, but you'd have the opportunity to rough a diamond in the east hand if necessary. Okay, excuse me, and that would give you an extra trick possibly. Okay, so again, it's crucial. If you plan for that, now that might actually give you an over trick, as it were, okay, on this hand. I don't know. Well, no, it would probably be you'd need it. So if you drew trumps here, played the ace, king, and another heart, you wouldn't make your contract probably. But what you're going to do is aim for a rough-in dummy. And that's what the losing trick count's all about. It's evaluated your doubleton ace of diamonds as a potential trick. And roughing the 3rd round of diamonds is what's going to make 4 hearts. Okay, let's look at this hand for a bit of fun. Okay, so we're just going to bid this with the basic losing trick count, and this is then going to lead us on to hand evaluation. The basic losing trick count, the bidding would be simple here. Okay, it would go 1 spade. Okay, East would count his losers. He's got 8. He would bid 3 spades, and West would count his losers. He would count 6, and he would bid 4 spades. Okay. Now, clearly, that hasn't worked quite as well as all of the other hands I've shown you, because you are missing all 4 aces, so you're clearly going to go down in 4 spades. And not only that, if North had the ace of hearts and the ace of clubs, you'd end up going 3 off in 4 spades. Okay, so clearly we're going to need to downgrade certain hands for the lack of aces, and we're going to see that. But those of you who are new to the losing trick count, what you've got to do is go wrong on hands like this. You've got to do that because you're learning the losing trick count. It's only what we're talking about over today for the most part is people who are more experienced at losing trick count. They're used to using it. Now I want them to evaluate again. So they get their basic losing trick count, they work out what they should do, but then they think, hold on, maybe if I've got no aces in my hand, I should be downgrading my hand. And as we'll also see, if all 4 aces, you should be upgrading. So let's look at those hands in the cold light of day. Okay. Both are aceless, so I would want both to be downgrading, and we'll look at this a bit closer. One of them is aceless, one of them is ace and kingless. Okay. So generally I would downgrade by half a loser if I don't have an ace. I would downgrade by a full loser if I didn't have an ace or king. A simple way of looking at it is the idea is that if West had 4 aces instead of 4 kings, it would be the same number of losers. If East had 2 aces instead of the 2 queens, again, you'd count it originally as the same number of losers. So this is one of the things that you have to evaluate beyond. So it is tricky, this idea. Okay. The idea of the losing trick count, the reason we use it is because it is able to include length and shortage in one big bundle. I find that a lot of people using the point count struggle to add on enough for them. Okay. So, the other element which is important is the losing trick count is fantastic with distributional hands. It is, the more balanced you are, the less good it is. And the reason for that is it just undervalues your hand. Okay, so count the losers in this hand and you will get 9 losers. This is a normal opening hand. We would open it 1 no trump, and of course this is one of the problems that the strong no trump would have with the losing trick count. It's why it's more prevalent in Britain, because with a strong no trump they would be opening this 1 club or something like that, playing 5 card majors I should say. It would go 1 club, 1 spade from partner, 2 spades, and you've only got 9 losers. It would be very difficult to evaluate. The nice thing in our system is all of our weak opening bids open 1 no trump. So any bid that does not open 1 no trump, okay, any hand that does not open 1 no trump will have 7 losers. Okay, so yes, a couple of people are asking about downgrading. Downgrading. I'm just going to go back to that hand. We would be downgrading both hands here. The auction should go 1 spade, 2 spades. Okay, it should just simply go 1 spade, 2 spades. Okay, I'm just going to rush back through the one I've been. Okay, so what are we going to look at today? The adjustments. Well, the adjustments, we're going to look at a queen in partner's suit. So a queen counts only half when it's by itself, and actually a queen doubleton we count as 2 losers, but if it's in our partner's suit, we are going to upgrade it to a full winner. It's often a wonderful thing, and if it's a queen doubleton in our partner's suit, that will count as 1 winner, 1 loser. So just 1 loser. So queen doubleton in your partner's suit counts as just 1 loser. That's a big upgrade there because that queen is so often valuable. Okay. If you have a bigger fit than 8 cards, you will find you have more potential. The losing trick count doesn't know that, so you need to evaluate that. Okay. So the longer the trumps, the better the hands. You take off half a loser. Okay, so generally I take off half a loser for each one, and as we've all been taught, with a 10 card fit we make many more tricks so often than with an 8 card. And the other thing is lots of aces, what we've just seen there. You would upgrade the hand. Okay, 3 aces are good news, 4 aces we've got to take half a loser off. Of course the opposite of that is if you have 0 aces you add half a loser on, and of course if you're playing as a partnership, those two balance each other out. Can you see that? 4 aces, no aces, etc, etc. Okay, so what the idea of good and bad, what do I mean by that? Well, we have it in all systems. Okay, sometimes you're in between bids, and we're going to see that. What do we do if we've got a half? It's all well and good Bernard saying I count half for a queen, but what on earth do I do if I've got a half? Okay, that's what we're going to look at now. First of all, let's look at this hand, and then we'll look at halves. So, 1 heart from your partner, 1 spade from you, 2 spades. So Margaret there, Margaret Barr was saying it's far too complicated. Okay, it will be. What you have to do, okay, is stick to the basic losing trick count when you start. Stick to the basic losing trick count. When you do the point count system, when you first start, you stick to the basic point count. Hopefully now that if you've been using the point count system a long time, what you will be doing is you will be evaluating. You'll be saying, actually, 10s are better than nothing. So I'd add half a point for that, or I've got a 5-card suit, I'll add on for that. Suddenly you are fully evaluating your hand because you're used to it. It's the same with the losing trick count. So here, this is going to be very complicated for people who haven't played the losing trick count, but probably half the audience are used to it. So this is for them. So what I want you to do is give me your first losing trick count before there was any bidding. So if I counted the losers in the east hand, I would count 8.5 losers on the first count. That would be 3 in spades, 2.5 in hearts, 2 in diamonds, and 1 in clubs. Okay, 8.5. However, what we do now is we've got some bidding. My partner opened 1 heart. Most of the time, that queen is going to be great news for him. He will love that queen. So therefore, I'm going to count that as a full winner. Okay. And then the long trumps. The long trumps, 6-card spade suit. Quite often we'll have a 10-card fit. The losing trick count doesn't know that, so I need to tell it. So I need to take off for those. So I'm going to take a full loser off for that, and the queen is in partner suit. Bearing all that in mind, I'm going to jump to 4 spades. Okay. Now that isn't easy. It's also not easy using the point count system. Okay, so if you use the point count system here, you're probably going to be thinking, well, I've got 7 points, add on for, I've got 6-card spade suit, that's another 2, that's 9, I've got a singleton, maybe another 2, that's 11, maybe I'll bid 3 spades, okay. It's difficult because that queen of hearts is gorgeous, so I need you to upgrade for that as well. It's really difficult here, okay, really difficult to fully evaluate these hands. This is experience, and you gain from experience. So both the point count system and the losing trick count struggle here. It's full hand evaluation that gets you to the 4 spades. Is it a good contract? Look at the queen of hearts there. Isn't that gorgeous? Okay, and of course we expect most of the points to be in those majors. Okay, all right, and because you've got 10 spades between you, the chances are you're going to end up making. Your partner might have 3 spades, that's true, but a lot of the time he will have 4. Okay, he might have 3, but he doesn't always raise with 3, so most of the time, probably 80% of the time, he will have 4 spades. You've got a 10-card fit, okay, and you go for it. Okay, so this is even, let's take it another step. What do we do with half losers? Well, what you've got to do, I'm afraid, is decide are you good or bad? And it's exactly the same with the point count. Imagine your partner opens 1 no trump. If your partner opens 1 no trump and you have 12 points, you've got a difficult decision. Should you go for game or not? Well, experts never have 12 points. They say to themselves, do I have a good 12? In which case I go for game. If I've got a bad 12, I stay and bid 2 no trumps. That's important. So in the point count system, we have exactly the same problem. If I'm between 2 bids, do I bid high or do I bid low? And what we've got to do, okay, is look at our opponents. Look at the rest of our hand. So the losing trick count doesn't include jacks and 10s. McKendrick, avoid that if you can. You don't need that. You don't want to split your hand into 11 and 12 points. You want to use hand evaluation. Okay, so jacks and 10s are not included in the losing trick count. So clearly they're worth something. So if you've got lots of jacks, you're going to bid a bit more. If you've got no jacks at all, you might not. Shape. 4-3-3-3, double doubletons. Crucial. We're going to look at that. Singletons, we like. Okay, we don't, they're just a good thing because the losing trick count is evaluating for them. Bear in mind, where is the singleton? If it's in your partner's suit, you're not so happy. If it's in the opponent's suit, we love it. Okay, we see that in the bidding quiz in a moment. Okay, the last element, that double doubleton. Okay, now that's crucial. A lot of people struggle with this. Okay, a lot of people struggle with this, but 2 doubletons in the losing trick count are evaluated the same as 3-1. So if you've got 2 doubletons, it's the same as a 3 and a 1. Can you see that? So imagine they're all low cards. Surely we all know that a 3 and a 1 is better than 2 doubletons, but the losing trick count doesn't. Okay, so you've got to bear that in mind. Okay, again, I do not like 4-3-3-3 shapes. So in the point count system, they are overvalued, ironically, so I have to downgrade them, but the losing trick count does the opposite. This is what's difficult. Okay, so if in doubt, of course, you can always go back to the point count. That's the beauty. The losing trick count just gives you another method of hand evaluation. So if you think, well, I don't know if I should bid 2 or 3 for with the losing trick count, well, go back to your point count and see what that says. Let's look at some examples. Okay, so here's a simple one. Ace, Jack 10 of spades and Ace, Jack 5 of hearts. The losing trick count says in theory that those are both worth the same. 2 losers. Okay, but surely one of them is better than the other. And in fact, when we use the advanced losing trick count, we would actually use 1.5 losers for Ace Jack 10 or King Jack 10, whereas Ace Jack 5 would be worth just still 2 losers. Okay, still the Jack would be nice, but difficult. The idea being, if you put 3 little cards opposite either of those holdings, the spades would give you a wonderful chance of making 2 tricks, whereas the hearts will give you very little chance. So it's a huge difference. So lone jacks we like to have them in our hand, but a jack and a 10 with a higher card are lovely. And here's a very simple example. These 2 hands are not bidding together. These hands are not bidding together. They're both responding to 1 spade. Okay, they are both responding to 1 spade, and I'm hoping all of us will get the right answer. But notice that the losing trick count will evaluate the hands as the same. So both hands, I hope, are 8.5 losers. Okay, I've put the losers there in grey. Okay, 2 in spades, 1 in hearts, 2.5 in diamonds. Remember, that's so important, and 3 in clubs. So there's 8.5 losers. And at that point, I'm thinking, well, I don't know, should I bid 2 spades or 3 spades? Look at the rest of your hand. The hand on your left there has nothing redeeming. There's nothing to think, well, I should upgrade it. Whereas the hand on the right, of course, has a couple of jacks. Or you could just go back to the point count. Hand on the left has 9 points, hand on the right has 11. There's clearly a difference. So when you've got half, just look beyond the losing trick count. So we'd bid 2 spades with the one on the left and 3 spades with the one on the right. So when you've got a half loser, you've got to try and work out where you're based. Okay, have a look at this one. So just to be clear here, we're trying to cover a lot. We're covering all sorts of topics we will be over the months, but also there's going to be an element of, that on Monday. Clearly, I'm hoping that was accessible to everybody. Here we are talking about slightly more advanced techniques. Okay, so you've got to bear, and I'm sure some of you will find this difficult today, so bear that in mind. But remember, at least hopefully you now know how to count your basic losing tricks, so at least you'll be able to have a chat with someone and understand what they mean. So let's look at this one. 1 spade by West. What are we going to do with the East hand? 8.5 losers. Okay, it's got a jack, but it's got the dreaded double doubleton. Okay, the dreaded double doubleton here. Okay, so whenever I'm in between things, if I've got a double doubleton, I think, hold on, I'll take a step back here. So what I want you to do is look at that hand there and imagine one of the clubs was in hearts. Imagine you had 3 hearts and 1 club. You would still have 4 losers in those 2 suits, but surely you love it with a singleton somewhere rather than a doubleton. Okay, so bear that in mind, particularly if it was a singleton heart and 3 little clubs here, it would fit beautifully with partner. So I think you're just worth 2 spades. Again, the point count system would find that very easy. But bear in mind, the losing trick count is a wonderful thing. Okay, so here the losing trick count will often lose for people. People playing the basic losing trick count, it will often go 1 spade, 3 spades, 4 spades. Okay. However, over 2 spades, let's look at the left hand there, 6 losers. Should I try for game? Well, I've got a 5-card spade suit, maybe I should. I've got the dreaded double doubleton again. Okay, so look out for this. Okay, imagine you had a singleton, diamond and 3 clubs there. Actually, the hand's pretty good. Okay, so double doubletons are really dangerous. So once again, Trevor said the jack of spades. Yes, that's a good thing on the hand in the right, but the dreaded double doubleton is downgrading it. Okay, so look out for that double doubleton. So both hands have got the double doubleton here, so they would both be downgrading. In fact, on a bad day, you're going to lose 2 diamonds, a heart, and 2 clubs. Okay, and that will be too far. Okay, let's look at one last hand. Okay, as I say, do bear with me. This is not easy bridge. Okay, we're looking at using our full evaluation here. So let's look at one last hand. Okay, 1 diamond from west, 1 spade from east, I was supposed to turn the camera off there, but I forgot. Anyway, 1 diamond, 1 spade. What do you fancy with the hand on the left? So you've got 7 losers, okay, but is it minimum? So you've got 3 important things here. So this isn't easy, okay. I'd expect the basic losing trick is to bid 2 spades here and probably finish in 2 spades, okay. Here, I would feel that I've got 3 aces. Okay, those 3 aces could have been kings. Oh, well, let's say you had 2 kings and the ace of clubs singleton. So I would be upgrading for that. You've got the jack 10 of spades and you've got a singleton. Okay, so it's not easy, but I think you should be bidding 3 spades, and I think the point count system would find that easier. So it's interesting to see there's ups and downs, and what I love is using both systems. Remember, you don't add on for the singleton in losing trick count. The losing trick count evaluates that, but it's this idea that if you had 2 doubletons here, the losing trick count can't distinguish between 2 doubletons and 3 and a 1, so bear that in mind. So you just think it's a nice thing. And then, of course, the east hand, well, the first count again is 9 losers. So both hands appear to be minimum. But the jack 10, 9 of diamonds in your partner's suit. Oh, lovely. Okay, you can't, okay, sometimes it'll just be against the ace, king, queen and won't value. But if partner's missing any high card, that jack 10, 9 is going to be really valuable. Okay, so you've got 5 trumps, which is an extra trump. You've got the jack 10, 9 of diamonds in partner's suit. You've also got another jack, which isn't counted, and you've got a singleton. I'm going 4 spades here. Okay, so that is really not easy. Okay, and a lot of this would be a classic 2 spades plus 2 or 2 spades plus 3 on the Traveller. Okay, you could easily make 2 spades plus 3 here, and we see that a lot. We see Travellers or Bridge Mates where a lot of people are making 200. Really would not be easy to get to 4 spades using any system. This is using your full hand evaluation, whether using the point count system or using the point system. The losing trick count. Bear in mind the point system's not easy. People are asking how much to add on for singletons and voids. It depends on how many trumps you have. Okay, so that's why it's difficult. So if you are the person who has the fewer trumps, singletons and voids are even more valuable because every time you ruff, you gain tricks. So each person should be adding something difficult. Okay, playing pairs, you want to be in 4 spades and a half here. Someone says it's iffy playing pairs. My goodness, no. No. You're more likely to make 11 tricks than you are to make 10 tricks here. Okay, bear that in mind. Okay, this is powerful bridge, and the reason it's happening is because you've got 4 aces. Can you see the reason it's happened is because you've got 4 aces. Okay, all right. Okay, that's enough on that. Some really tricky stuff there. Okay, some really tricky stuff. Okay, all right. But there was the full hand, and let's look at that quiz. So, sorry if you can hear me gulping my water, but it's probably better not having the glass there as well. So this was the quiz. Don't forget, 1 diamond from your left-hand opponent, 1 heart overcall, 3 diamonds. What's your bid? Okay, what's your bid? So this is a really tricky one. Okay, these are the kind of hands where you need to imagine what's going to happen in the auction. Okay. So, your opponents are vulnerable and you are not. Okay. If you bid 3 hearts and they bid 4 diamonds, okay, and it comes back to you, what are you going to bid? Well, if you only bid 3 hearts, you should probably pass, but I think you're all going to bid 4 hearts. Double's no good here, please, you've got a fit. So you've got a fit. So double says partner, we haven't got a fit. It's a choice here. 3 hearts, 4 hearts, or 4 diamonds, okay? Now, 4 diamonds is going to fit in with what we're doing today, a much more difficult element. The key on this hand is, what do you think your partner will be thinking when you bid 4 hearts? Okay? What do you think he will be thinking? You are non-vulnerable and your opponents are vulnerable. North bids 5 diamonds and you think, oh great, I think I can get that down. Oh goodness, my partner's bid 5 hearts. Because we are non-vulnerable and they're vulnerable. When we bid like this, okay, what's happening is we're often sacrificing. Take 2 aces away from this hand, and now I might bid 3 hearts or 4 hearts because I'm trying to get in the way. Here, I've got one of the best hands at the table. Okay, I've got 4 card support. I've got a singleton in my opponent's suit. I am loving my hand. Now, I'm not necessarily going to make 4 hearts, but I'm going to bid 4 hearts. And I don't want my partner to bid any more. I want to tell my partner, I think we can actually make 4 hearts. And if they're bidding above us, I think I don't want you to bid 5 hearts. So this is really difficult. Please understand this. This is really difficult bidding. Okay, again, so apologies to those on a lower level than us, and I'm trying to get a balance between the various levels, and believe me, the hand that's coming up is not easy either. But what does 4 diamonds mean? A bid of the opponent's suit. Those of you who are used to my teaching, and hopefully other people as well, a bid of the opponent's suit says, partner, I am strong and I am excited. We are the bosses on this hand. I expect us to get a positive score. So don't make a sacrifice bid. Okay? We are the strong ones. Okay? Now my partner might only have 7 points. Don't get me wrong, 1 heart doesn't show much. Okay? But my hand has the potential of 3 tricks in a defensive contract. Give my partner just 1, and we could be taking them a long way off. As it happens, we might only take them 1 off here. That's important. But 1 off is important in pairs. Okay. So people are calling it various names. For me, a bid of 4 diamonds is a bid of the opponent's suit. Okay. You don't have to give it a name. It says, partner, I am strong and I'm excited. And it promises support. Okay. It promises support. Not an easy bid. You can see what I've put up here is the auction. 1 diamond, 1 heart, 3 diamonds, 4 diamonds from you. It's above the 3 level, so it doesn't need alerting, ironically, but it is obvious. Oh, it's the first round of the auction. Apologies, the first round of the auction, so it does need alerting. Okay, and your partner would say, my partner is strong and excited. He likes hearts. 5 diamonds from North. What does East bid? He does not bid 5 hearts. He knows that it's us who are the strong hand here. Okay, so what he does is he passes, and it would come round to us and we would double for penalties. Okay, and the key here is that 5 hearts may well go 1 off. 5 diamonds, double goes 1 off. Okay, so we get 200. Now, if you were very lucky and clubs broke 2-2, 5 hearts would actually make. But look at the vulnerability. If clubs break 2-2, you're going to take 5 diamonds off 2, and 5 diamonds doubled is worth more than your game. You would get 500 points instead of 450 for 4 hearts. Very subtle, and I know this is difficult. Okay, but the idea is your 4 diamond bid is saying, partner, I'm going to surprise you here. I know you probably think we're sacrificing, but I think, we're going to have a chance of making. Okay. All right, so not an easy bid there. Okay, 4 hearts is second marks. Remember, if you've got a fit, you want to show it. So don't be doubling in auctions like this. Okay, if you've got a fit, it's so important to show it. 3 hearts, 4 hearts, and 4 diamonds are your fit showing bids in the, well, I suppose 6 hearts as well if you want to. Okay, remember 4 diamonds, your partner once in a blue moon will pass you. If he does, well, it's you can do all the swearing you want because you're probably behind a computer screen now. Okay, so that's what's lovely. Now at the bridge table, I want you to smile. Okay, I want you to smile. But the lovely thing about playing on a computer, there's not many lovely things because we love the human contact. But one of the lovely things is if your partner makes a heinous error, you can curse very loudly. Okay. Yes, if I bid the opponent's suit, if they have both bid diamonds, my partner should know I do not want to play in diamonds. Okay, that's enough on that. Let's do our Q plus hand of the day. This was sent in. Oh, I can't do that. I've got to do that. This was sent in by Pete and Sharon. Okay, Pete and Sharon, they had it in one of the duplicates they played recently. Let's have a look at this one. It's an interesting one. The play is intriguing, but let's have a look at the auction. It is South as the dealer. South is the dealer. Okay. South is the dealer, and let's have a look. Do you know I'm going to pass that hand? I am going to pass that hand, if that's okay. I would feel the jack's in the bin. I know I've got a 5-card heart suit, but vulnerable against not. You are vulnerable with the opponent's arm. I am going to pass that hand. Okay. So it goes pass, pass. North bids a diamond. I bid a heart. And what does North bid here? Tricky one. I'm going to overbid here. I think, to be honest, I think 3 hearts is enough here. Losing trick count is a 5 loser hand. And you do have a jack. And to be fair, you have 3 key cards. So if I'm honest, your best bid is 3.5 hearts. And if you can do that, I mean, obviously the best way of doing it, if you're using a bidding box live, is to pick out the 3 heart and pick out the 4 heart bid, put it back, then take the 3 heart bid out. Partner should work that out. That's completely illegal. I should say completely illegal. We never do that, none of us. Anyway, let's bid 4 hearts. Okay. I think that's a little bit of an overbid, but let's see. Okay, and once you've bid 4 hearts, and South is excited. Remember, he's a passed hand, but he's got a lovely hand there. The Queen is in hearts, it's in partner's suit. He has got a 7 loser hand as a responder, remember. So he's comparing to 9. It suggests a slam might be on. 2 better. With 7 losers, you're 2 better than 9. So go for no trumps here, I think. And I like to play keycard Blackwood. I prefer that. This is not Roman keycard, just keycard. So North, okay, bids 3, the equivalent of 3 key cards. If you were playing Roman keycard, you'd probably be bidding 5 clubs here. I'm playing the same as normal Blackwood, but I am counting the king of trumps. That's important. And we mentioned that, I think, already over the last 2 or 3 weeks. Okay, and then it goes 6 hearts. So we're going to finish. I don't think there's any point trying for a Grand Slam. You're sort of limited. Okay, let's see how the play goes. So you win 6 hearts. I want you to make a plan if you can. So I think 5 trump tricks is not unreasonable here, and 4 other top tricks. Ace, king of spades, ace of diamonds, and ace of clubs. I think it's reasonable to put the jack of spades in there. And you win the ace. You're going to need a lot of roughs here, okay? You're going to need a lot of roughs here. So I think you've maybe overbid, but let's see. We try a heart. We get a bit of a shock. Okay. All right. So we win that. And a 4-0 break. And this is where you need to be calm when you're playing. Okay. We're going to need a lot of roughs. Okay. So I think I'm going to try and rough at least twice, if not 3 times in dummy. So let's play a club. and I'm going to duck that to keep entries. Now, here, if East had returned a trump, which I think he should do, we would need to take a diamond finesse. But here, let's work out what we need. I think we might be able to make this by ruffing 3 times in dummy. So we win the ace. Okay. I'm going to ruff a club. I'll play the king of spades. And I'm just going to keep ruffing. Can you see that? See if it works. Ruff. Ruff. But the problem is, this requires you to keep calm. Okay? It's a wonderful hand. Okay? But it does require you to keep calm. Because of course, poor old Reese, let's just look at what he's holding. Okay, if we just go back 1 card down. When we lead the 6 of clubs, poor old East has to under ruff. And then there's nothing he can do. So what I'll try and do is make sure when we're going through this hand next time that we're a little bit earlier, because it seems that things aren't so good as we get past 40 minutes on the thing. So I'm sorry about that. So this was a difficult hand. If East had bid, if East had led a heart back, we would have needed the diamond finesse. So if East, what have I done there? If East had led a heart back, we would have needed the diamond finesse. Don't know what I'm doing there. So it's interesting. Have a look at it. It's what we've ended up doing is a trump coup. It wasn't deliberate in a sense. All we were doing is roughing enough times to make the contract. But an interesting one. Anyway, let me sum up. I'm sorry if you are losing connection here. Remember, I want some questions on the losing trick count for Monday, if you can. I'm going to. I haven't shown you the quiz. Oh my goodness! I hope you can all see that. Have a look at this. That's next. This is for Monday. So here's the quiz for Monday. 1 spade from you, 2 spades from your partner, and what's your bid? 1 spade, 2 spades from your partner, and it fits in very neatly with the issues we've been talking about. So 1 spade from you, 2 spades from your partner. What are you going to bid here? Okay, so that's for Monday. Summing up, now the teams tonight, if you want to come and watch us, I am AFJM. We'll be playing at 7:30 to 9 o'clock. And that will be a teams. We'll be playing 12 boards, 6 boards, a small break for 5 minutes, and 6 boards. The table will be called Bernard Magee Bridge. And if you, or you can put my name in, AJFM, apologies, AJFM. Okay, AJFM. So I'm sorry if you lost a bit of connection towards the end. Don't forget, you can always you can email me. You can see all the details of the shop for the DVDs and things like that. That's on the About tab. On the About tab. Really sorry that things were cutting out towards the end there, and looking forward to a good week next week. Thank you very much, everybody. Goodbye.